Alright, so I just finished watching Supergirl, and honestly, because of all the negativity that was out there, I was like thinking, well, this is gonna be bad. I don't feel like watching it. Mostly because I did not like Man, Tomorrow it's called Superman. I like, well, what did I just watch with that one? So I wasn't expecting much for this one, but this one was pretty decent. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I gotta watch it again because I did watch a bit of it, didn't stop, and then later, a couple days later, came back to it. So a little disconnected me there, but overall, I think I'll give like a 7.4 maybe. I enjoyed it. But let's look at some of the critics, I guess, from the AI, whatever stuff it says. The bad points are the unfocused script. The narrative feels messy, moving to a generic sci-fi fetch quest that struggles to earn its emotional moments. Emotional moments, I do feel it does sound like a little fetch quest from going to there to that and like dragging it there to that to get to the eventual ending point, which I'll get to soon, why I think it's kind of worth it in a way. I do feel like the little girl, her acting was maybe something a little bit negative because of the fact that she lost the parents and stuff like that, but emotion wise you don't really feel that she really wants to get the bad guy. In a way, she's saying it, but the emotion that's stirring up inside her, you can't really feel that. It's like more like a sense of duty that she's going for, and I guess if that's what she's going for, I could see it. But I think a little bit sense of emotion of the loss she just had and the revenge she wants to go for, just showing that a little bit would have been nice. You don't see it much until I guess a sudden relief she gets where she kind of cries in the end and just hugs Supergirl, and that makes it a little bit more okay. She was just a little girl, she was feeling all that, and now she's fine. But then she just walks away. Yeah, I feel like the acting wise or something was lacking a little bit there, if that's what it means by emotion wise. Uh, yeah, there are also the Labobo. I'm not a DC guy, Marvel. Labobo, I forgot his name. I feel like he wasn't that great in the sense that I wish there was more to him a bit. Because of the fact that he just had a little bit here and there. Okay, it was fine, but it made it feel almost like a little side character that could have been anybody else. I guess he just has the looks, but could have been anybody else, like a little comedic side character does his thing and leaves the movie and we're just gonna forget about him. So it didn't feel like big enough. It could have been bigger, had a little more to it, because he seems like an important character, right? Like an important villain, but he didn't come through it as much to me. Gimmicky, is that what you call it? I'm not sure if that's the right word, but it's like not that much somehow I felt. So I didn't like that aspect of it. So the acting of the little girl a bit there, the Labobo, if you see him as an important guy, then okay, I see. I wish there was a little more. I liked the Supergirl acting. I liked how, is this the right word, grounded she was. Her performance was pretty good, and it felt kind of relatable the way she was acting all throughout the Supergirl stuff. I know their look wise, there's this stuff, which is kind of the reason maybe why I got turned off a little bit. Maybe I'll say 90% of the time she looks fine. I don't care. I don't have a specific look for Supergirl, so when I see her, I kind of see the performance and that's her look. Does she look normal? Like, yeah, 90% of the time I think she looks fine. Nothing wrong, and her acting was great. I felt grounded, and even the movement and the way she talks, it just, you could connect to it a bit more somehow, right? Compared to Superman, which like always like, I don't know, but hers like a little more human acting, if that makes sense a little bit. 90% of the time, I think she looks fine. 10% of the time, there's also some shots where, like, okay, I can tell why people said this stuff, but I absolutely did not care. There's like 2 3 shots where, like, okay, yeah, I could see why people were saying that, but overall, the performance at 90% of the time, I think she looks fine. I absolutely do not care about what people said. So if that's one of the reasons why it got turned off, maybe you'll still hate you if you care about what she looks like. But I can look past that, and I think she looks great. 90% of the time, wherever those shots, it happens to everybody. If you see anybody in the camera, wherever they're recording, if you freeze a frame at some point, a lot of people also get that bad shot stuff like that. Anyway, back to the story. It does look like a fetch quest, but it is also a fetch quest where like they kind of slowly, and I think well spaced in a way maybe. Again, I stopped and went back a couple days later. That mellows out. You could kind of tell why the little girl getting to Supergirl all the time, back and forth. This happening, and then little events here and there. They weren't like the biggest, the coolest events exactly. Although the CGI and stuff like that look cool to me. There are a few CGI stuff like that look a little off, but overall I still ended up enjoying it, so I don't care. The CGI and everything I'm saying. Those little moments that doesn't seem that important, but the length and spacing, I feel like it was enough to slowly mellow out Supergirl, like to become normal again, because of her history, stuff like that. That's making her wrinkled and stuff like that. And I think that pacing was nice. I think it ended up so that it made sense for her to have a switch instead of being like a one sudden moment that just made her switch up. It's like the whole thing slowly made her switch up, and I think that's why one of the reasons why I think that's great as well. It's not just one scene that made her suddenly switch up. It's the whole. If you have a feel for it, you could like tell, okay, all the events kinda worked out to softly soften up and go back to like a normal person, I guess. And the ending, I guess. Some people didn't like the villain. I could see why. If you're expecting like a aura super high battle, which I was thinking they might do, they might not do. I'm not expecting they might not do. And it wasn't there. But I don't think that's the point. The point of the last fight was at least for me, because I didn't know anything about it, showed me that this isn't your average Superman. This isn't Supergirl Superman kind of character here, because she instantly just went for the kill, and I didn't expect that. So that like shocked me, right? So that's like it's like it didn't have to be anything big. It was enough of a shock moment for me, I guess, to say that this is like it's like something that's saying like, I am not your average man. I go for the kill. And like, oh wait, why should you kill him? Shall I do that? No. So that shock factor to me was a little bit there. I don't know how many people know about this, like the kill and stuff like that. I was like shocked. And yeah, so I think that the points to me felt like it was just to say that this is the kind of character this is. So it didn't have to be anything big. It's like the bad guy served the purpose to show you that this is the kind of character he is in the final fight, at least. But I understand what the point of like this being like, what? That's it? That's all? That's that? Yeah. But I guess for me, the mellowing out, the last character, kind of being the fights were okay. Even the fights were okay because it was kind of like grounded. It's like it didn't have to be super power all the time. They were like super strong and going all out. It's like well balanced, not overpowering everybody, just from time to time a little bit, and then going back to weak, time to time again, and then going back to weak. I think it was a nice balance. Again, a grounded one. If you want like superpower, huge, all of that and stuff, it's not exactly there. But it was nice. It was nice to see because I like the balance they did, the rhythm they had, the message they kind of sent for the characters of the last bad guy, even though it wasn't like a big fight or anything like that. The bad guy kind of served the purpose of the message, I guess. So that's why I felt it was fine. And yeah, well, the negative and all that. I guess this is why I kind of leave it like a 7. It was enjoyable. If you didn't like Men of Tomorrow, I didn't. I feel like you should give this a watch. I feel like this is definitely a movie that you should give a watch. Don't get turned off by everything else. You might if you care about that stuff. I kind of did because of the frozen screenshot where you obviously get the bad shots and they show it to you. But don't. It's an enjoyable, decent movie, and I think it's worth taking a look. So give it a look. I don't think it deserves all the hate it got, honestly.